I mean, it's fascinating to me.
Okay, so my question that I was going to ask you before was, you just don't seem, this is a compliment and a statement and maybe a question, whatever.
Maybe an insult. No, okay.
It's an insult. It's an insult to something. It's not you. You don't seem like a guy that lives in this area, right? You don't seem like a guy that has been able to figure out some of this stuff. They don't live in this area, right? You can almost historically look at the type of companies in this area and say that they don't look like other area businesses, right? I'm shocked that this business was started here. And I think even when I asked him before, I was like, is this guy from here? Right. And he's like, yeah. And I'm shocked by that, because you don't see things like this start. You hear some people with some rumblings around about stuff like this, but never actually started business around it. Right. So it was interesting to me that, as you and I are talking more, that you did all this basically. You lived in New York for a little bit, but you
were born
8 months. Yeah.
You're born and raised here in Virginia, though, correct?
Not born. I'm from a small Caribbean island called Trinidad, if you've heard of it.
Yeah. But you lived in Virginia?
Yep. From the time I was 8, I came over here, 3rd grade, went on from there. And then I went to Longwood University, came back, kinesiology major. Biggest waste of $100,000 ever.
All school was a waste of money.
So do you think that, because you're well-read, you have a sense of hustle. Yeah, I mean, you're curious.
Well, we're all a little lazy. I mean,
you seem to be moving faster than most. We'll put it that
Thank
way.
you.
Did you,
Tim? You grasp that too, right? Like it's like yeah.
So I'm like, is that something that's instilled within you as a person, or is that something that you picked up on when you spent time in New York City? I mean, you said you lived a couple blocks from Times Square.
Is it because you're not from the United States? And because people who aren't, there's a lot of people think that, right? Because you're not from here. There's that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I could kick my feet up and tell you guys my origin story and everything. We'd have a good time, because all of the above.
What's the drink of choice down there?
In Trinidad?
Yeah.
Carib. We were talking about beer here in Puerto Rico. Modelo is the beer there. It wasn't that good, I'm not gonna lie, but you still drink it. But in Trinidad, Carib is their beer, and it's really good.
All right, Caribs, let's rock.
But yeah, I think it is because I'm from Trinidad. You know, you come up and it's a third world country. Technically, there's no opportunity there. My mother is the reason I moved up here, because she moved up here, put herself through ODU. Computer science, and I would like go to classes with her because I was a kid, right? And then I would see her studying late at night, and I was like, shit, I should really like make something of myself up here.
There's
like
the hustle right there, learning the hustle from that. Yeah.
And I was horrible at school. I barely made it out of high school, and Longwood is not known for its academic excellence, you know, and that was exercise science. So
is that the place with field parties?
Oh, we had a lot of parties. Any kind of party, you name it, we had it.
No, I'm sorry. Like I went to West Virginia University. Like,
oh, okay, yeah.
Y'all didn't have parties there. Like,
I went to Longwood and there was a party there.
Okay.
I would agree. I've been to West Virginia University.
So
you guys just have crazy parties.
Crazy parties. Okay, so you just said two really. Okay, so you're not from here. There's a huge piece of that. You followed your mom, saw her work ethic aspect of it. I mean, that to me, that's like super leading. It's like you always wanted more. So I mean, that to me, that's the telling sign as to why you are the way that you are.
Well, I would say I don't want to make it sound like I was this ambitious overperformer from the time I was a kid.
But it led you to it. You don't have to like see it as a kid. Yeah.
I know exactly when it happened. I've told this story before, but when I graduated from college, I became a personal trainer, and I was like, whoa, I'm broke. Like I have like 3 clients, and I had so much time on my hands, but no money. I was still living with my parents. So what I did have was Barnes & Nobles, and it's free to go in there. And I buy a coffee every now and then, buy one, get one free cookie, best deal on the market besides Costco's $1.50 hot dog. Anyways, I'd read all of the books there for hours in between clients. Lean Startup, I didn't have to buy the books. The One Thing by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan, reached out to Jay Papasan. He helped me write my first book. And I just that's where it started, because that's when I saw the world outside of Virginia, and I started to see what's happening in Silicon Valley. And I don't want to move to Silicon Valley, but I wanted to bring that excitement and that passion and that lust
of what they've done.
Yeah, but bring it over here. Like, why don't we have that excitement? I didn't see that growing up. I like, that's why, like, one of my businesses is getting into government contracting, because that's the stablest way to be a business owner here. There's so many government contracts close by, but it's not excitement. Yeah, it's not exciting though, is it?
Have you read that book?
CustomerDiscovery.co is exciting.
What book, Zach?
The One Thing?
Yeah, I have it.
Great book.
Folks, it's on audio CD for $50.
Yeah, it's I mean, but and then you can't help it when you're in New York City. The energy that you feel there. I mean, like just the street vendors that are fighting for everything, man. I mean, whether if you're selling street meat or the people that are selling sunglasses one day, and then when it's raining the next day, they're out there with their cart loaded with umbrellas and rain gear. I mean, it's just, they just hustle. And I love that sense of, hey, we got to make it. I mean, there's just no place like it.
And people say, what is your favorite part of New York? Is it the nice food, the nice, whatever? And I'm like, no, it's the energy. Like, the conversations you have are just so different, and you accumulate those hundreds of conversations, you become a different person.
There is no energy like that here.
But there should
be. We live
well, it is now. It's us.
No, but I mean, sure. Right. But I mean, and not even like a portion of that. Like, of course there's a portion of it. Zach, you're an idiot. Like, it's just, you leave there, you feel like, and then you hear like there's often that lacking piece to it.
Yeah.
So
it's like,
but really honestly, like, that means that there's an opportunity to jump on to have a piece of it. And I think that's where Tim and I have been able to see some success over the years, is to try to capitalize and stir up or percolate people's thoughts. Can we, Tim, can we talk about our favorite topic right now?
Sure.
Okay, so you're a former, or I guess you're always like a personal trainer. So we said,
I guess, yeah, technically.
Right. Okay, so what's some physical fitness feats that you've done that are ridiculous that most people haven't done?
I guess the triathlon.
Okay, what distance?
It was a sprint. It was easy.
Oh my God, Tim Ryan
I'm a fake
triathlon a couple years ago. I don't know that he did. Tim can swim, so that's good.
Yeah, I learned by the Army divers on Fort Eustis taught me about the law of propulsion and creating two streams and all that. And I was like, I halved my lap time. It was crazy.
Oh, explain this to me, please.
So I was a personal trainer for myself, and I had a government contract, right? I was employed by the Department of Defense. So I started a business on Fort Eustis. And during my lunch break, instead of eating, I would just eat a loaf of bread each day because I was burning so many calories. And I would replace my lunch break by learning how to swim, because at noon the Army divers were the lifeguards, and the Army divers were about to go on mission, and they were just so bored, they were ready to go. They were like, hey, you training? I had a swim parachute and everything tied around your waist. There's, it creates a lot of drag. Didn't use my feet at all. And they taught me about, instead of going like this, which everyone does, they swim very robotically. You come in the water, you don't make a splash, you create two streams of water, and you go back. You go like this, create two streams. And just doing that, my triceps didn't get tired. I was using my lats, and I went from, I forgot what it was, but I halved my lap time, which was, I think, 50 meters. And I got a lot faster.
All right. So interesting. So I'm a former swimmer. This is an interesting thought. Okay. So on butterfly, I do that. Right. But on freestyle, I've learned that actually you want to hug. It's disagreeing with your statement. You want to hug zipper more like this because you can get more propulsion. So I'm gonna next time I'm in the pool,
use your lats, right? When you do that, when you keep it close. I just felt the flex there. But that's what they taught me. I don't know whether it's true or not, but it worked.
I don't have enough lat muscle, I guess. So what made you quit personal training?
Well, it was very, I love helping people more than anything else. It's the best feeling in the world, but I love technology just as much. So instead of just being face to face, I was like, how can I leverage technology to do that? Using my graduation money to try to get a custom built app, failed horribly, offshore development team, and then white labeled a solution through Training Rise called Panacea Fit for people with medical conditions, scaled that to a couple hundred users. And that I was reading, obviously, I always read back then, Entrepreneur Magazine. I read an article about the Elon Musk of the fitness industry, who was Daniel Neary. Told him about what I was doing, loved it. He said, how about starting a business for me? Niri, Nyiri. They're no longer in business. You'll see why. COVID. So he flew me down to Tampa. He said, how about starting a business for me down in Miami and launching the SaaS platform that you've launched for us? I said, no, I'd probably party too much. Went back to what I was doing in Virginia. And then he said, what about Manhattan? And I was like, hell yeah. And he was like, we'll pay for your apartment. And I was like, hell yeah, because that's really expensive. So I went up there and, I basically, they had a studio in West Village. So I operate there. And then I was basically a product manager. I didn't know that was the title back then. I was a product manager for the Dollar Train Club, which is what they wanted to launch. It was kind of like a acqui-hire, but they didn't acquire. They just hired me to do the same thing. I would love to finesse it as an acqui-hire, but it wasn't. I could still operate Panacea Fit in the spare time. So I had my trainers and my coach and my registered dietitian still managing that. But eventually I was like, no, I want to focus fully on this. And then I wanted to learn how to code. So in Manhattan, I was doing all those things. Started moving into the tech industry, went to a tech summit in Microsoft in Times Square, and life was changed from there. I was like, yeah, I'm going to make this jump. And then COVID accelerated that because in-person personal training studios didn't do well. We didn't launch the online fitness app in time. So basically we all moved back home to our various states, I to Virginia, and then the rest is history. Started this business.
How did you, I have found that the more successful people are those that are the most curious. Have you always been curious by nature?
Yeah, I love learning new things and I love experimenting to learn those things like quickly. And Andrew Huberman, if you guys follow him, Dr. Andrew Huberman, he's the head of Stanford's neurobiology lab.
Yeah, he was on Rich Roll. Tim, we both listened to this guy.
Yeah. The science of learning is incredible because if you're able, especially with learning how to code, I face this every day. You face that no epinephrine release, which feels difficult. It's like pushing a hard set at the gym. That's the only analogy I can make because I'm a gym head, right? But it doesn't feel good at the time. You're like, oh, this is difficult. This hurts. I would rather play video games or something. But if you're able to push through that, you release no epinephrine, and that triggers neuroplasticity. On the other end of neuroplasticity, there's learning and there's a dopamine release, meaning learning new things can actually make you happy. Like you're releasing dopamine in a very healthy fashion. You can get dopamine through drugs. You can get it through, I don't know, doing a bunch of unhealthy stuff. Running is good. Not that it's unhealthy, but I mean, what is the most, it just feels like that's how you take control of your life. Like I can learn new things, do things that can like make me more money, make me more friends, make me whatever, make me in better shape and stuff like that through just learning new things. It's like the best way to take control of your life. I didn't say that well at all.
But I understand what you're saying. I always want to surround myself with people that are going to challenge the way that I think.
Right.
And people that I'm going to always learn something from. And I get really, really bored because there seems to be an increase of number of people out there that they aren't necessarily listening to you. They're only listening to, so there's a break in the conversation so they can be the one that are to talk about things, whether if it even is worthy of listening to or not. But so many people don't listen to learn. They just listen because they just want their opportunity to say whatever it is on their mind.
Right. And yes, man, a lot of people like surrounding themselves with people who just say, yeah, good job. No, like I want to be disagreed with. I want you to challenge the way I think. And then we're all going to get to a much better place. Like difficult conversations and healthy confrontation are the way to create deep bonds. It's the way to surround yourself with people who eventually become family.
I've been directly involved within our entrepreneurial community for years. And the most common question I get is, Tim, I want to get involved, but I don't know what events I should attend. Well, StartWheel eliminates that pain point because we consolidate all the events you should attend into a single calendar. Now you'll be in the know and see where to spend your time. Gone is the need to search multiple websites and calendars. Just head to startwheel.org and see for yourself. That's startwheel.org.